Okay, guys, let's start. Thanks so much, everyone, for being here. And thanks to our partner, Photo Wings, for making these kinds of beautiful talks possible. So today we are together with Ed Kashi, Yasemin Elçi, Leonardo Carrato, and Paolo Verzone, and myself, Ilvy Njiokiktjien. And usually in these talks, I am the host, but now I'm actually kind of a little bit the host, but mostly I am part of this project as well. Let me first introduce briefly what this project is about and how it started. So I don't know how many years ago, Ed, how many years ago? 2 years ago?
Boy, like 3 years ago, we started talking about this. And 2 years ago, we began to implement it.
Yeah. And this is the project 1in6 by 2030. And the project was started together with Sarah Terry, Ed Kashi, and myself. And 1in6 by 2030 is a global collaborative project that brings together a lot of photographers from around the world. Many of you I see now are here. I'm seeing that in the comments. Thanks, guys, for joining. And we are trying to we're making a collaborative project to put a human face to one of the most important statistics of our time, which is the fact that by the year 2030, 1 in 6 people in the world will be over the age of 60. And that is a number that has never happened before. Earth's population is about to become, the oldest that it's ever been. And in the past years, we have been working on different ways of telling stories with photography to show these numbers, and not only in the many ways that it had been done before, very many times sad stories. We also really want to focus on resilience, happiness, and everything that has to do with the world becoming older, or the people in the world becoming older. Let's start with the first slide. And then Ed, I would love it if you can share a bit about the beginning of our project and how we started talking about it, because both of us have worked a lot in the last for me 2 decades, but for you longer, working on stories about older population. And then we asked Sarah Terry to join, and maybe you can start there talking about.
Yeah. So thanks, Sylvie, and welcome everyone. I began looking at the issue of aging within the United States 30 years ago, because I saw it as a documentary photographer. I saw it as one of the great themes of my lifetime. And it's not a sexy subject. It's in some ways a challenging subject visually to explore. Anyway, and then a few years ago, I was speaking with Sarah and Ilvy, and we were both sort of sharing, how important this subject was to us. And Sarah Terry, who, tragically, we lost, oh my God, it's 2 months ago, unexpectedly. She, in many ways, was the brainchild of this particular project. Sarah was a powerhouse of a human being, of an artist, of a creator, of a visual storyteller. She started the Aftermath Project, which for 20 years has given grants to other photographers. We don't have enough time to talk about the importance of Sarah, but anyway, we need to acknowledge her here, and that this project would not exist without her. And I'm actually in Los Angeles, less than a mile away from where she lived. So I'm hoping her presence, her spirit will be infused in this session. Anyway, so 1in6 by 2030 was an idea the three of us came up with, and now 2 years of production into it, what will be a 7-year project. We have over 150 photographers from over 40 countries that have contributed. So that's the sort of macro view of this project. But then what we're here to talk about today, the exhibition at Belém in Brazil for COP30 that Leonardo and Yasemin worked with us on, who you'll hear from later. That was a collaboration that was amazing that came about. And I think we've had over 12,000 visitors in less than a month to this exhibition. So these are some images from Sarah's work from our first story prompt, as we call them. Every year we're giving out 2 or 3 story prompts to photographers all over the world. And just to understand that the spirit of this project is that it is democratic, it is global. As I think Sarah pointed out, we're trying to create the new family of man photo album, but through the perspective of an aging human population. And one thing that I learned 30 years ago when I began the project of aging in America was this idea that for various reasons we have this gift of longevity, that not all of us, but many of us are living 20 to 30 years longer than previous generations. And we're trying to look at what does that look like? What does that mean? That besides the health and the different issues that might plague people who live longer, there are all these incredible opportunities. This is Sarah Terry, that's up on the screen now. So anyway, those are the broad dimensions of this project, and we want to share some of the other images that are in the Bellum exhibition, which is called Climate Elders. And this is Sarah's contribution. This is a gentleman in Los Angeles who is planting trees. And the idea behind Climate Elders was that we tasked photographers who participated around the world to find an elder who had been impacted by climate change, photograph them in a situation that reflected the environment or the place in which that change has taken place. And then we asked them a set of questions to respond to. And so that was the basic, those are the parameters of the assignments that we gave out. And
can I add one?
Yeah, please.
Because what I really loved about Sarah when she was photographing this guy, I think somewhere in her backyard, right? It was like really near to her home. She met him by total coincidence. His name is Peter Lucy. He's a 70-year-old resident that started planting trees. And I don't know if you remember, Ed, when after Sarah met him, she said in a call with us, she was so excited. He gave me the best quote ever. And then she said, the quote was, the best time to plant a tree was yesterday, and the next best time is today. So that's what Peter said. And it's part of her story. And she followed him for, quite a while in
multiple times.
Yeah. And what's really nice that when Yasemin and Leo when they were working on the exhibition for Bellum, which is still up now, by the way, if you are in Brazil, they showed several of her images in the show. I think they will talk about that in their presentation. But yeah, the images you see here are part of that. But I really loved how absolutely thrilled Sarah was, not just to meet the guy, but to hear that quote. She thought it was a good fit. And like Ed said, we asked photographers to ask their protagonist several questions. And the one question is, how did the climate change during your lifetime in this area? And what do you think that leaders in that area should do to change the course of where the climate is going, or where the local impact of the climate change is going? And that really ended up with some very interesting answers. There were several people actually that were very strict towards their governments. They were saying the government should listen more to us. We know because we have been here for 80 years, and they should listen to our voices.
This image is from Peru.
Yeah, and this one is from Kyrgyzstan, shot by Bektur Zani Bekov. And it was lovely to, together with Sarah and Ed and the three of us, finding photographers in many different countries. And sometimes photographers would come to us, sometimes we would ask them for instance, with Paolo Verzone, who's on our call with us today. He will explain who he photographed in Spain. You photographed 2 people, actually.
Yes. Yes.
Sorry, and also we were able for this project to get a collaborator, HelpAge, as well as the VII Foundation. But HelpAge contributed to covering some of the expenses of the photographers, and this was an example of where we were able to sort of it's like advocacy work, really, where you find the partners that can help support the field work to get these photographs made and these stories told.
And Paolo, what I really liked, because when we asked photographers, we also asked quite a lot from them, I must say. I don't know, Ed, if you agree, but some
yes.
of them travel far.
And thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Also the people in the chat, the contributing photographers. Same goes for Leo right here, and Paolo. Both of you contributed images, and yeah, traveled far sometimes too, but also stayed in your own region. You were in your own country, right? Well, Paolo was, Leo was. But it's not the easiest project to bring together, because we also want to make sure it's diverse. We want to look at it from different angles, from drought to lots of the images actually that we have, and you can see them on our website, 1in6by2030.com. You will see that there's kind of a division between all the images. One half has too much water, and on the other half of the images, there's the severe drought. It seems like there's not a whole lot in between. Ed, maybe you can talk a bit about the organizing of all of this. How do we, how can people approach us? How do we work with prompts?
Yeah. So thanks. So yeah, I mean, please, email us if you're interested in joining. I'm ed@edkashi.com. Very easy to reach, like all freelancers. But basically the design of this project is every year, there's 5 more years left in this project, we will issue 2 to 3 what we're calling story prompts. And then really we're going old school on this. No audio, no video. This is just about photography and text as a way which we believe so strongly, and it's still a great way to tell stories. And so with each story prompt, and again, this is very much based on people volunteering at this point, to contribute their time like we are doing in both photographing and producing the project. And so the idea is that over time we will generate, as I said earlier, this almost family of man, this incredible visual archive. And I think Paolo will talk about this when he has a moment. But this incredible visual archive of humanity at this moment. But again, through the prism of one of the most powerful issues and, in a sense, dynamics that are going on right now. What does it mean when we grow old, en masse? How does it change the politics, the economics? What are the social issues that we will confront? But this project is not predicated on being just looking at all the problems. Yes, we will look at the challenges of an aging population, but we're also trying to really highlight some of the incredible opportunities and the creative and beautiful ways that people are meeting this new challenge, if you like, of growing older and of living longer. And incredibly important element of this is that it's global, and that and in a way, this project for me reflects how photography has changed in the last 10 or 15 years, where it isn't just the purview of photographers from Western Europe and North America and parts of Asia. That now photographers all over the world are their voices are being heard. Their visual styles and approaches can be seen and appreciated. And to me, this is one of the most beautiful developments that I've witnessed in the 45 years I've been working in this field, is that now it's truly a global, it's almost like the lingua franca of humanity, photography is. And we hope this project will contribute and be a part of that and contribute to that language.
And
Thanks.
Ed, if you allow me, I would like to just add that this is a time capsule for scholars of the future. Like when I was taking the picture, I was thinking of a viewer coming from the future, like 200 years ahead, 300 years ahead, that they would have some material, like facts, as you said, the captions, and also the text we collected with interviews of the people involved. It's a very, very powerful time capsule that can be studied for generations ahead. So I was not working on the day, not only on the urgency of the matter. I was working for the future generation, and the things we love the most, me and the farmers, we were speaking about it. And we said, guys, we are doing these pictures that someone in 200 years maybe will look at it and will have a guess of your story, a guess of what is happening. We will never meet them, never. And this is the most fascinating things. It's like we don't know who will collect this message in a bottle, but the message is there. The bottle is very solid, and the data inside the bottle, they are a lot and meaningful. And now I shut up because I start with my Italian thing, so I will shut up. Thank you.
No.
Your Italian thing. This is really great.
It's such a great point. I would argue that even in 50 years, this will have tremendous value.
Sure.
I don't know about all of you, and both, amongst us and the people out there listening and watching, but, I feel like I got so much of my early education about the world by looking at pictures and reading captions. And yes, we live in a time where we're deluged with motion and sound and AI and all, so much content, but there is still something about the still photograph and words that is almost meditative and deep in what it can teach us, the details it can show us, beyond the quality of the photograph, just as information, almost forensic information. So to Paolo's point, this is a beautiful time capsule. Thank you. I'm going to use that one moving forward.
Maybe, I don't know if we have enough time to briefly talk about our protagonist, Ed, but if we do, maybe we should go 2 slides back, Fiona. I'll keep it very brief. If we can go to the guy in the blue shirt. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. This is the protagonist I photographed in the Netherlands. His name is Jaap Schoof. He's an 81-year-old. And when he was only 9 years old, he was one of the survivors of a really bad flood in the south of the Netherlands. This was in 1953. And a lot of people who were, for people who know the Netherlands, a lot of our country is below sea level. Some of it even 12 meters, 6 meters, 7 meters. It's really, and we are protected by these high sand dunes and dikes. And there was a big break in one of these, in one of these dikes. And the farm that Jaap and his family lived on was under the sea level. So when the dike broke, a lot of people died, but he survived. About 2,000 people actually died, and he was one of the sole survivors. And the reason I photographed him is, of course, the rising sea levels, which makes this area of the Netherlands even more vulnerable. And the current climate change has even made the conditions in that area worse, because the salt water is seeping underneath the dikes. So on really dry, hot summers, the kind of fresh rain doesn't even add up enough, or there's not enough fresh rain to keep crops alive. It's too salinated, the soil. So that's a problem in that region. And the next images are from Ed. So maybe Ed, there you go.
Yes, thank you for that. So this gentleman, Robert, he's a firefighter. Sorry, he worked for the Miami Fire Department as a lifeguard for almost 30 years on the beaches. And in sort of retirement, he now teaches water safety and sort of how to combat heat to elders in Miami. This is in Miami, Florida. And what was kind of so beautiful about his story was, again, and we are finding this in many of the stories that we're doing overall in this project is, folks in retirement, quote unquote, in some cases are doing some of the most amazing work of their lives. And it's, I don't know, for me, it's such an inspiration to see people at what we would call like the third stage of life, instead of, whatever, playing golf and retiring. Nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. They're staying fully engaged with society, with their own communities, whether it's in politics or in this case, it's like really sort of health safety. So Miami is now experiencing something like over 100 days a year of temperatures over 100 degrees. For those of you who are in the Celsius world, I'm not sure how much that is. Is that in the 40s or something? Anyway, just extremely hot weather, again, because of climate change. I also just want to make a point. The climate change has become so politicized, and it is so frustrating to me as someone who for now over a decade has been telling stories around the world related to a hotter planet. And it's not about casting blame on why it is happening. The bottom line is it is happening, and that we need, I feel as a photojournalist, and a storyteller, we need to address this issue. And in this case, it's to show how people are being resilient and are coming up with creative solutions. And so to observe Robert, and just as an aside, it was very sweet. He was with this group of like elderly women, and they were all like joking with him about, oh, maybe I shouldn't tell it. But anyway, it's just it was very beautiful to. No, they were joking about like, hey, Robert, you better like save some energy, or you'll have none left for us later tonight. And so this idea of how it's just so beautiful when you see people come together and are able to be just to joke and to play with each other, and it doesn't matter the age. And this is one of the many things I cherish about doing this work, is that I not only get to understand better how the world works, but I get to see these lovely ways that people interact with each other and form community. And honestly, that's partly what this project is about, that we're forming a photographic community to tell all of these stories around the world.
And really, anyone who's listening in now who thinks I would love to contribute to one of the upcoming prompts, please stay tuned. We will share on the last slide. Well, Ed shared his email address. It's very easy to find us, but I'll make sure on screen to share all the details that you need to be added to our what's it called? Newsletter. Yeah. Because we would love you to contribute and follow us, obviously. Let's go to, because I see that. Yeah,
Leonardo.
Of course, Leonardo Carrato. Do you want to talk a bit about who this is?
Yes. This person is Maria das Graças. She lives in Manaus, which is a city. It's the capital of the state of Amazonas. And she lives in, I'm going to say in Portuguese because it makes more sense. I don't know if I would translate it correctly. So she lives in Parque das Tribos. And I know we have something in the audience who lives in Manaus, so he can also write something here. It's very welcoming to write. And I'd like to thank him because he connected me to her. So I just wanted to mention that. So Parque das Tribos is the only neighborhood in whole Brazil which is multi-ethnical and which is recognized for indigenous people who are living in an urban scenario, not living in the actual or tribes in the Amazon. And in 2024 was a very I don't want to say so. I mean, it was important year because it was the drought record. I mean, they never experienced such a drought that they did in that year. So Maria das Graças told us about that, like how much she felt that her life and also her, community people felt about this because I mean, she talked about in a perspective like how much not only water matters, but like the flow of the water matters, right? Like it's a different whole perspective about the thing, and we can, and of course she talked about on fishing and of course water that I use to clean dishes and but also water in another spectrum, like water that I can't even like move. I can't visit my sister that she lives in another area. So like, and I had to wait for like what 3 or 4 months. Rafael, who is here, can like correct me if I'm wrong in this timeline. But again, yeah, I think she was this person with a very strong character, very like direct, and I remember really well the message she sent because she sent the message directly to Lula, who is our president. So I think so for me it was like interesting to hear that because she was really like clear what like him, the president, should do to at least like at some points. Of course, he cannot like change much, but at least in these conditions when they face this like record drought, like I think what she mentioned was like they needed support from the federal government. So that was a bit of her message, and I encourage everybody here who is listening to check her chapter out, her page out, and I think that was it.
I will share the link actually right now in the chat now that we're talking about it, because I think her story so well represents what this project is about. And I love the picture of her standing there.
Yeah.
Let me share the link. Wait, give me 1 second. There, I got it. There we go. Okay, and I think slowly but surely we're moving towards the most important part almost of the day, which is the amazing exhibition where all of our work is seen, which was beautifully put together and curated and organized by Yasemin Elçi and Leonardo. And we will first show a quick picture and a video, and then they will show their beautiful presentation. So this is how busy it was. Yeah, it's amazing to me to see this picture. There we go. And Ed and I, of course, are very sad we didn't get to see it in real life. We didn't go. Right. But luckily, Leo and Yasemin were there to listen to all the beautiful testimonies that people were giving. This is Sarah's work, and of course, a little memorial sign for Sarah and her pictures. And that's Theis's work, by the way, for people who might have realized Theis, who was supposed to be here as well, she unfortunately couldn't join, but her work was up there, or is
from
up there.
Australia.
But it's still happening. I'm not sure until the 21st of January, right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
It's up in Belém. So for anyone who lives in that area, please go see it if you haven't seen it already. And now it's on to you, guys, to tell everything about. This is the information if you want to follow us, join us, write us a message. Our email, I think, is it's contact@1in6by2030. So you can reach out anytime if you want to join the project. There will be about 2 to 3 prompts, 2 2.5 prompts a year. I would say it's a lot of work to manage all of this. So I think we started out thinking we would do about 4 chapters a year, but we soon realized it's nearly impossible to organize all of that. So, but feel free, we will share our upcoming prompts in the newsletter. So please sign up for that on our website. And yeah, now let's see the beautiful space where our current show is happening. And also, maybe this is a good moment to say that if you in your country know of a beautiful space to have this show at, let us know. Please reach out, because we really would love to show this work everywhere. Okay, Yasemin and Leo.
We would like to start by telling you a little bit more about Belém and the church, the venue we are exhibiting in. And Leonardo, as a local, can tell a little bit about, we can talk about Belém. And then I would like to continue by, sharing what how it felt like when we put together the exhibition in this historical landmark, like the 17th century landmark, St. Alexander Church. And for a time, it even served as a college when the Portuguese first arrived in Belém. And like the height of the ceilings, the weight of the Baroque architecture. Here we are looking at the garden. Sorry about my voice. I lost my voice today, but this is all that's left. But you will see the rest of the building in the next slide. So the feeling is definitely there. Like the history is pressing in from every side, and there's no way to separate the exhibition from this atmosphere. So I will leave it to Leo to share a bit more about Belém first.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, I mean, I'm not, when you say I'm local, it's Brazil is a continent. So, but of course, I've been to Belém many times, and of course, let's begin telling a little bit about Belém for our audience that it's international and maybe they're not so familiar with the city. So for many people, it might seem surprising that Belém was chosen to host COP30, because when you think about Brazil, the 2 cities that come to mind immediately is like Rio or São Paulo, right? But for us here, or at least for me, it made completely sense that Belém was the city chosen. Mainly because Belém is in the Amazon, right? And it's one of the largest cities in the region, with more than 2 million people, if you count all the metropolitan area. And these 2 million people live at the center of many of the issues that the Amazon deals at the moment, right? It's not about only environment, but it's about social, cultural, land disputes. So it's much more complex than that. And as I mentioned before, it was not my first time, but the visits that I did in Belém, I always felt that the city was full of culture. And I'm risking here to say that that in all the state capitals that I visit in Brazil, I think Belém has the most, or has the highest numbers of museums and cultural centers, or even places there are exhibiting all kinds of art. So so when the city was announced, I have to say that something clicked inside of me, and I said, okay, spontaneously, I said, since I already had collaborated with the portrait to the project, I immediately wrote an email to Sarah, Ed, and Ilvy saying just to have the feeling of what do you guys think? think I'm being crazy, in that, but was actually the opposite. I remember truly, like, you guys replying right away, saying like, yeah, if we find a place, let's go for it. So
Yep.
okay,
Sure.
and then
But that's what. But that's
Extremely happy.
Leo. But that's one of the beautiful things about projects like this, where this is a grassroots effort, and we're always looking for opportunities and ways to create work, to share work, to disseminate it out. And your contribution has been, well, this could have never happened without you. So thank you so much. Anyway, please continue.
well, and then I felt I feel like happy for like 10 seconds, and then I thought, okay, now, okay, I got this huge responsibility on my side to find a place. But anyway, and the thing was, okay, so now was a matter of like finding the right person to talk to, or at least because I knew that we were dealing with something powerful, and I knew that would be perfect fit for being exhibited during COP, right? Like, you guys like explain everything at the beginning. So anyway, things were a bit cloudy here. Like, we didn't know who to reach out to. Like, I remember our first conversations during Zoom. Like, should we reach out to UN, someone from UN, or maybe I don't know, try to find another way. And I knew, now being a local, that that the federal government would be involved in some way. So I reached out to some friends who lives in Brasilia, which is the capital of Brazil. And then I finally got an information and a contact that every cultural programming was going to be done by the Pará government, right?
Like the municipality, or the
Sorry?
local, like the local municipality,
Yes.
the province, or
Yes, we have the municipality and we have the state here in Brazil. We have two different things. And so Belém being a capital, it has both administrations. So it would be done by the state government. So I finally got the Secretary of Culture email and phone number, and I wrote her a message like, okay, not expecting to get a response very quickly, but no, it was quite the opposite. She replied. I presented her the project. She loved it. She scheduled like a Zoom call. We did a really quick Zoom call, and in 5 minutes in the Zoom call, she was like, okay, I love the project. Why don't you come here to Belém, and we welcome you to visit the places we have this available, like do this technical visitation to all the museums we have available. So I'm like, yes, why not? Let me just check out with the team if we have, how to, go there. Anyway, I just wanted to, give this a little bit of context of Belém, how it worked, how I built this kind of relationship, this network, these connections with federal government. And before I go on, I think Yasemin could add what she think, her personal view of Belém and the place we're exhibiting.
And her brilliant curation.
Yes.
Thank you. The venue is really important. It's at the historical center. It's a very popular area, and so and it has a very heavy history of colonization. So 17th century venue, 17th century building, and climate crisis is another narrative of colonization. It's how humans dominate and distance themselves from nature. So this creates a powerful echo in this venue. It's as if the building itself is part of the dialogue. And so as you see in the images from the beginning, we wanted to show several life-size portraits, but the decision took on new significance in the setting. And these figures, they don't just face the audience, they stand within a site that's marked by centuries of layered histories, and they interrupt that history, they question it, and they blend into it. And in this way, the work as a whole becomes a gesture of confronting the past and bringing forward human stories, real experiences that are so often lost beneath the larger sweep of historical narratives. And in this church, we were able to rise back. Everything, all the stories are back to the surface now. So I think this the venue was the perfect fit for this project during COP.
Yeah, it brought it beautifully together.
But then, Yasemin, you had this beautiful idea with the comment. Please talk about that.
Yeah, so we explored, discussed different ways of storytelling. There's a lot of material in this project, and for me, I wanted visitors to be curious enough to explore the exhibition more than once. It's very important for me in every exhibition that the audience is engaged and they spend time. And if they come back, they do another tour, that's a good sign. And the audience has been very, very engaged in this exhibition during my few days there, and that was a beautiful gift. We wanted visitors to enter from different angles, and we experimented with different photographic layouts and integrated QR codes in Portuguese and English, selected the powerful quotes like Sarah's quote, Peter Lucy's quote we heard in the beginning, and they were presented as a part of the show. And we wanted people to explore different routes indoors and outdoors in the exhibition. So because we have this huge library of wisdom from climate elders, and they make visible the shared stories, the shared needs and challenges, and they offer possible solutions that connect different regions and experiences. We also have a map in the exhibition showing where each story is from. And it was also very important for us to feel for the storytelling. So this slide actually is showing what I wanted to talk about is we wanted the storytelling to feel open and inviting. So we created the space for visitors to join the conversations themselves. This is called the Climate Pledges Corner. And people write down their climate pledges, like small or big steps they want to take towards a greener future. It can be a very small thing, like whatever is practical, like I will not use plastic bags anymore, or I will use my bike more, like anything, because we have visitors from all ages and all backgrounds and many nationalities, especially during COP. So we wanted also the children to be engaged, the teenagers, the elderly, everybody to be engaged here. So they could write their climate pledges, hang it here in any language they wish. Some people drew pictures, and the museum is collecting these notes for us. This is actually the cultural secretary of Paro that Leonardo is talking about. She came to the exhibition more than once and kept bringing groups of people. We were very grateful for that. And our archive of notes and pledges is growing, and we look forward to sharing all of that with you. And we're curious about the collective story that emerges from people's collaborations. So the exhibition is actually growing every day with the audience participation.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, really amazing.
That's so beautiful.
It's amazing what you were able to organize. I mean, not even in our wildest dreams. Because I remember, if I say this correctly, yeah, we were actually planning at first to do something at COP29, but then time just passed by and it didn't work out. And then we thought 1in6 by 2030. 2030, wouldn't it make sense? COP30. And then it was in Brazil, and we knew that. And then Leo jumped in, and then Yasemin, and then it all worked out. But we could hardly imagine that this would work out. And then with the group effort, it did, which is just a big dream. It's amazing as well to me how many people went through the exhibition in the last weeks. What a dream. I don't think I've ever had an exhibition with so many visitors. It's insane. It's really insane. It's beautiful.
Yeah, like I mentioned, it's really part of the city. I mean, of course, we're expecting visitors from COP who were there for COP, but I think we got much more local people that were really interested, and they are interested in visiting, in experiencing, in accessing what the city has to offer. So I think that was it.
And what
other audience was for me, and especially being in the Amazon for me, was something that give this feeling of accomplishment also, right? Exactly what we propose in the dialogue. So,
and what would be your dream for, like, where to have an exhibition next, or what to do with this exhibition? Do you have any ideas on that, you guys?
yeah, Yasemin, I know.
I have many dreams and many dreams and goals. But yeah, maybe I will keep them to myself for now. That's the pledges, it will be a wish tree. But there are many opportunities. I think this is a growing library, like you guys, Ilvy, Ed, and Sarah started this project, and like they said, please participate, share stories. It was an honor, a great pleasure to be a part of this project. But it's all about collective effort. It's really about the group effort. It's a big teamwork. So I think the more support we have, there will be so many opportunities to tell these stories in a different way and meet different audiences. And we are very excited for future opportunities. I just wanted to add that we also created an audio guide for visually impaired visitors. And we were very intentional about presenting the text and the photographs in a way that would be accessible for both elderly visitors and children. So along with sustainability, the diversity and inclusivity was a big part of this project, and we will donate it to the museum after the show ends.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And just, I'd like to add, sorry, Ilvy, but our ultimate goal is to have a major exhibition of this project in 2030. And Yasemin has sort of hinted at, Luxembourg is the host of the original Family of Man exhibition. So maybe there's a nice synergy there, but that's to be discussed. Anyway, sorry, Ilvy.
Oh, thank you. Okay, I think it would make sense to move to Paolo Verzone now, who was one of our great photographers who met two people and photographed them in a beautiful way. And Paolo is also someone who, in very beautiful words, can explain what a collaborative project is. So Paolo, I'm going to give the stage to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ilvy.
One thing,
And
can I add one thing, please? Anyone who has a question for us, put them in the chat now and in the upcoming 10 minutes, so we can do a Q&A in the end. Okay, Paolo, all yours.
I wanted to add something to what you have just said about this beautiful exhibition. It's like I had just an idea now while I was watching that, and I wanted to see that everywhere. No, and this concept of everywhere it's always a random concept, but try to imagine a truck with exhibition which will travel the entire continent, and it will stop small villages, big towns. I think it's doable. It's like you have a track for each continent, and the exhibition can travel in places where you don't expect it. This, I think, it's something we should also focus on, not only, of course, in big cities, but I've seen a lot of engagement, and I will get back to my pictures now, from people we would not expect. Because, for example, we have here Antonio, which is a former farmer. He's in retirement. He's 61, so he's kind of young to be in retirement, but he started working very, very early. We are in the south of Spain, in the Murcia region, which is normally a region which can be very hot. But both Antonio and Carlos, which is the other gentleman which I had the pleasure to share time with, they were absolutely shocked by the disruptive patterns of the climate over there. They have been used since their childhood to heat. The region of Murcia is very hot. But the picture has been taken in October. October is not a hot month over there, not like summer. And one thing which I loved of both of them is they knew every square meter of this land. They were connected with the land. It's like they knew every roundabout, every tree, everything. They could read the land. It was an invisible bond. And they had a very, very practical and non-scientific approach. They said something is happening. So you call it climate change, you call it however you want. Something is happening. We have been born here. We have been raised here. We have been working here all our lives. Something is happening. That's it. It's very simple. It's not about, of course, then we learn it's climate change, pollution, water shortage, but something is happening. Since we were kids, we were used to some reasonable, stable patterns. And one thing, they taught me two lessons. One is that they said, I am affected by that. My region is affected by that, but you are affected too. And probably you are not noticing it now, but everyone is affected. So that concept of climate change, environmental issues, we see, they said it in the first place. They said, we thought that was something affecting someone else until it came here, clearly, violently, with real effects on our daily lives. And this is coming to you. You don't realize when, you don't realize how this is coming to you. And believe me, they said, we don't have a scientific background. I don't need a scientific background. They said, when I was here as a kid, all this in October was completely covered in grass. That's it. That's it. It's very simple. Very, very simple. This is Carlos, for example. He know Antonio since their childhood. He is a former farmer too. And he said, this kind of soil, they could read the soil like mysterious let's say they had a bond which they can tell you the level of humidity in the soil just just taking it by hand. And they said this level of humidity, this level of this color is not normal. They said, where I'm standing here now, it would have been hundreds of trees. Now they are gone. And they said, we are worried not for us, for the next generations and for the hundreds of generations ahead, because the pattern here is very clear. And they said the solution is get back to a slower pace in a very philosophical way. They were two of the most interesting and skilled philosophers I met in the last 3 years, because they were saying things which were very clear. We have to slow the pace. We are destroying the land. We are destroying the ground. We are destroying each other. And it's because of this race, like we have to produce more, plus the climate. We have to give it a stop, to try to understand, to get data, and to start taking a slower pace in our life. They said the ground cannot regenerate at this speed. It's ground, it's earth. It's like you cannot impose rhythm to this soil which are not meant to be. It will be burnt. If you don't let the soil regenerate itself, it will never give you back nothing. So they were extremely, I wouldn't say pessimistic, they were aware of something, and they were visionaries. When they said to me, it's happening to all of you, but you don't see it. Here it's extreme. It's like in the Arctic. In the Arctic, you can monitor the climate change because it's happening rapidly. There are patterns established from centuries, and 3 degrees of difference, you can see a pattern. For them, they said, we are seeing a very, very clear pattern. You cannot see it because you are living in cities, but it's coming, it's happening. And you have to find solutions now that will have effect in 50 years. This soil, they said, it's for us, it's tragical to see that this soil it's burned. We need to let the soil breathe. We need to let the soil recover from this terrible heat of this summer, which was more than 100 Fahrenheit. The soil needs to rest. We have to slow the pace of our lives, and the entire ecosystem we have to give time to the ecosystem to just heal. Otherwise, the impact, it will be super fast on everyone. But that's the most interesting thing I was learning from them.
I really believe
slow the pace and let the earth tell you the healing time. Dictate like it has been for like millions of years. We are just the last species which is around, Homo sapiens. It's like we are just the last one arrived here, and we have capabilities of disrupting an entire ecosystem. But this ecosystem can kick us out in a blink of an eye, because we are a very smart species. We think we have a very limitless power on resources, but planet Earth has been here since far long. We are the last who has come. We are very young as a species. It's a miracle we are here by some chemical reaction of the universe. The dinosaurs just disappeared after millions of years, just for one meteorite plus one ice age. So we have to be careful. We are just the last one arrived. We think we can manage, we can control. We cannot. We cannot. The Earth is much more intelligent than us. It has kicked out other species very quickly. Quickly, I mean 10,000 years. Let's be careful. And all that said by two farmers who said, we don't know nothing about science. We just have evidence. My hands can feel a different soil. My child, the child in me who was running here on the grass and just picking all the fruits in the trees, doesn't recognize the place. This is what is happening. And they said, it's happening in your city too, but you don't see it. So be careful with this fast pace. Be aware that the rhythm of the Earth, it will dictate the rhythm to us in the good way or in the bad way. That's it.
Thank you, Paolo. Very important words. I really hope we are able to somehow slow down. There are so many good parts or so many good things to globalization, in my humble opinion, but the fact that we overconsume and we want more and more and more, and we want different kinds of crops in every season of the year. So in the Netherlands, we fly in vegetables from South Africa and from Brazil and from everywhere. And then the Dutch are sending or shipping meat to other countries where already meat is, why are we doing this? We're depleting our everything. Fiona has a really good question.
Can I just comment what I thought? What Paolo said that was, for me at least, was really interesting. This thing between what I think, Paolo, it must be very intense for you to hear that the people you photograph saying I'm not a scientist, but I know, right? Because we have this. I think that for me at least, the power of this project was to listen to these people instead of just, I'm not denying science, of course, but I want to listen to these people also, I don't want to, when you said
they are just corroborating all the data. They are just corroborating with their witness all the data. That's it. So science and the communities, they are already working together. They just don't know it. That's it.
There's a question to all the photographers, Ilvy, Ed, Leo, from Fiona. Have you witnessed or discussed solutions with climate elders through this project? And do you feel more optimistic that we can find solutions in time? I'm going to just answer the last part, and I hope you guys can chime in. But I remember when Sarah, Ed, and I were talking about the project that we, in general, for the 1in6by2030 project, we want to keep the stories optimistic, also real, not just super happy projects, but optimistic in a sense. And I remember when the first climate elder stories came in and I was uploading the stories and reading them and putting them on the website, I thought, wow, a lot of them are not very optimistic. What do we do with this? It's reality, and we also want to show reality. But showing the solutions, to me, were the most optimistic thing, because a lot of our climate elders, and you can check all of them out on our website, when we asked them, what do you think your local government or that your government should do? Some of them came up with really great, sometimes small solutions that could have a big impact. So that to me was optimistic. But when it comes to climate in general, I'm not a super optimistic person. So maybe, Leo or Ed or Paolo, you can talk about that.
I am optimistic for one reason. because we have to find a solution. We have to. It's not something, oh, maybe I'm pessimistic, so it will happen. We can stop the process at here and see the results in 50 years. We don't have the privilege to be pessimistic. We don't have. We have to be optimistic. We have to find a solution. It's mandatory. It's not even a question. It's like we have to find all the possible solutions. And we have to believe that it can work. Just that's it. That's it for me.
Well, I think thank you for that, Paolo, and it was beautiful what you conveyed to us from what you learned from your subjects. But it feels to me like so many of the solutions that are being suggested or the great ideas are on a sort of grassroots, local, granular level, but unfortunately, we're dealing with this sort of hyper-capitalistic growth kind of mentality, certainly from the United States. So I believe, though, I just wish we could move the conversation on climate change away from, it's bad for business, and see it for what it really is an amazing opportunity to not only improve, our place on Earth and not damage the Earth as much, but also create jobs and create economic opportunity. And until or unless we are able to make that change in our political conversations, then I'm deeply worried about the future. Ilvy, are there questions from the
well, there's
crowd?
one question from Justin Makangara, who first of all says, well, you can see there, well done for the work and the progress on this project, which is still ongoing. One question: would it be possible to share all the prompts for the year at once so we can work directly on the ones that are most relevant? I actually really love this idea, and I think we can do this. Just to give you a little bit of an idea how we come up with prompts, it's kind of a natural thing. So if anyone is listening and thinking, oh, I know a good new topic for 1 in 6, please reach out. We'd love to hear from you. But the way it goes is that we either read something somewhere and it inspires us to think of a new prompt, or we're chatting amongst ourselves and we think, oh, maybe that could be a good story. So far they have kind of been coming one at a time, but yeah, to make the lives of our contributing photographers a bit easier, I think this would actually make a lot of sense. So Ed, we need to start thinking ahead.
Yes, duly noted.
Yes, yeah. So yes, that's a yes. And then Justin also said, also some prompts in certain contexts in our regions remain superficial, which does not allow us to address topics with solid evidence. I'm not really sure. I can imagine what you mean by this. I'm not entirely sure, but I'm thinking that some of the topics we pick might not be suitable in each country. We, of course, are trying to pick subjects that are, but maybe we should even focus more on that, Ed.
Yeah, well, and I think that to great comments, and please, folks who are listening, send us ideas for prompts. We're totally open. But one of the other kind of the balancing act we're trying to achieve is like I'm constantly seeing topics I think would be great that I'm seeing in the United States, but then I'll realize that's not going to translate, throughout the world. So we're trying to find that balancing act. Ideas that are relevant, interesting, allow for powerful storytelling, but are more global that are happening in a more global way. So we always need more information and to be educated. So please, folks, send us ideas that we might not be thinking about, or there might be something happening like a trend or something you're seeing related to aging in your country or your region of the world that we're not aware of. But if we find out about it, we could see, oh yes, this could be applied globally. So please, we welcome any ideas.
Thank you. And then there's a comment, I think a comment and a question from Thomas, who, by the way, also had a beautiful picture in our exhibition and is part of the project as a contributing photographer. And he says, having a government in Germany that just decided to postpone the transfer to electric cars, for example, one can easily feel depressed. But isn't it meeting those people that make us hope again for the future, because they are the ones that know and speak out? Isn't this driver for all of us photographers to pick up the cameras and show more of this? How do you all feel about this? I totally agree. I think when it comes to not only to the climate change stories that we were making for Climate Elders, but for me in general, the stories about aging, with the, I think, 5 stories I worked on, it is these optimistic people that know, like with Paolo's 2 protagonists, that know from a local level what's going on in their region. I think that's what has made me most optimistic in this whole project, just to hear their the stories of people that really know. I don't think we necessarily we need science. I love science and it's very important, but to hear the personal stories, of course, as a photographer, that's kind of what drives my work.
Yeah.
And it's
well,
super
I think
important.
Sorry. No, Paolo, go
I
ahead.
said just it's super important to continue documenting, gather information, and just continue being witnesses. Just continue to gather data, images, and this is something which is the most important thing. Is like provide for everyone, present and future, all the information that they can read, they can act. If one day someone with a vision would come in charge, they can act even fast if we continue without stopping to continue to provide data, information, images, and relevant documentation.
Thank you. There's a question coming in from Jan Good, who's also one of our contributing photographers. And I think, looking at the time, this will be the last question we can answer. And he says, I was wondering if it would be possible to extend the Crossing Generations submission deadline, which is currently due December 31st. Yes, which is correct. So that prompt, for people who don't know, it's currently already on our website, the images that have come in. And it's a prompt about intergenerational programs that have young people and older people meet. And yes, you're right, it's open till December 31st. I wouldn't mind extending it a bit longer. We already extended it, but we love the stories that are coming in, and we would love to see many more stories coming in. So if you know, Ed, I hope I'm not speaking, but I would guess if we extend it by 3 months, right, should be fine.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's such an important topic. And interestingly and surprisingly, it's been one that's been harder for people to find stories about,
Yes,
which is surprising. Maybe it reflects the lack of intergenerational, the mix in our societies that is happening, you know?
Yeah. It shows the lack of it, I guess. Yeah, because it's easy, but apparently Jan does know a good program, so please feel free. We'll extend the deadline for it.
Absolutely.
Especially for you. There we go. Okay, guys, I think this has brought us to the end of this lovely talk. It was very special for us to be able to share these stories with you, in Sarah's memory and honor as well, because she has been one of the best. What would I call it, Ed? I mean, she's, of course, such an inspiration, but for this specific Climate Elders prompt, she has been a monumental force of power moving this forward with so much enthusiasm and so much creativity. And we're trying to kind of take that role over. Luckily, Julie Winoker, Ed Kashi's wife, stepped in to what's the word, Ed? To help
fill in, replace.
Yeah, Sarah's
You can't replace Sarah, though.
Exactly, she's irreplaceable, but we're very happy that Julie is helping out.
Yeah.
I really want to thank Yasemin, Leo, and Paolo for being here.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
And for being
I love this project. So easy to be here.
Thanks. And thanks for all the hard work that went into making this beautiful exhibition in Belém. And please reach out. Anyone who knows a nice prompt, who wants to join, who wants to take pictures for this project, who wants to visit the show in Belém, you know where to find us. And thanks so much also for the supporters of the project, the VII Foundation, of course, and HelpAge, who worked alongside us working on Climate Elders.
Yeah. And thank you, Ilvy.
Thank you, Ilvy.
Thanks, everyone. Thank you.
Ciao.
Ciao. Bye. Ciao.